What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition, an early edition, a little bit earlier on Twitch than we usually are, of MVP Sports Live, but nonetheless, if you're on Twitch and YouTube, we're going to have a banger of a show for you. I am joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, beautiful Tuesday. How you doing?
Doing really well, actually. Got some great
I can tell.
Today. I'm in a really good mood.
It's one of those things where I can tell what kind of a day it's been by the first three words Dave says.
Yeah.
When you come in. It's like, what kind of a day it's been? All right, I have to ask anyways, but...
Today was the day where Dave got paid.
Yeah, payday's always a good day. I think Soaps gets paid this week.
It's not payday officially. It was Dave closing out last year and getting those nice numbers at the end of the year.
I know Soaps was talking about payday on Games Live. I mean, whenever you get paid, it's a good feeling, right?
Oh, it's a great day.
It's always a great day. Also, I forgot. The one thing that pissed me off today, Dave, that shouldn't have, but I have to bitch about it because I bitched on Twitter. So I was watching the South Alabama Georgia State game. Yeah, I know,
sure.
Right? Like, betting just makes you watch random games, Dave, because South Alabama had the plus 5.5. And even though I won, Dave, I was mad at the other side because South Alabama takes a 1-point lead. They then are like, okay, you know what? We got a foul here. No one fouls. South Alabama gets an easy bucket. They're up 3. 7 seconds left. I'm like, okay, they got a timeout left. They get past I'm going to expect them to get past the half court, call the timeout, set up a play, right? To get your best 3 to tie the game. Not only does coach not call a timeout, the team frantically drives to the lane, then goes, oh shit, we need a 3, tries to kick it out for a 3 that's like this over a player. Yeah, they lost. They deserved to lose. But it's like, I was sitting there as a basketball fan, Dave, going to the coach of a team that I wanted to lose. How do you not call a timeout there? You don't get to take the timeout with you, Dave.
I don't. That just seems like poor preparation, Lack of preparation right there on the coach's end. That's some poor coaching.
I mean, it infuriated me.
You got to get Anthony Lynn.
You got to get Anthony Lynn out there. He'll get that offense in shape.
I'm saying you're fired because you can't call a timeout at the right time.
That could be good, too. He had one to use. But we got a jam-packed NBA show today. Before we get into everything, though, let's go through the housekeeping. Number one, if you're not in the greatest community in the universe, you're behind the 8 ball. However, you can join it today. The MVP Discord, link down below in the description, or you can hit !Discord into Twitch chat. We're always popping off. Fans are always popping off. It's always great conversations in there about all the sports that we love. So go ahead and join that today. If you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/MVPvids, or you can throw us a sub on Twitch. Get rewarded for doing so. Bronze, silver, gold, platinum. Twitch subs even get rewarded like bronze patrons do. So no matter how you want to support us, you can get rewarded for doing so. Also, thank you to our Patreon producer, Pat Hill. We're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. All the locations you can catch MVP. We're also sponsored today by MANSCAPED, but we will talk about them later. Dave, before we get into the main topic of the show, we got some sad news to talk about today. Just a little how you doing at the beginning of the show. Marty Schottenheimer, longtime coach of the Chargers. That's pretty much, I know during our lifetime, he's been the coach of the Redskins and I think the Niners. I pretty much knew him in the early 2000s when really I got into football, being the head coach of the Chargers, the Drew Brees teams, and therefore died at 77. Just one of those RIP coach. Hate to talk about this, but got to give a little bit of how you doing, T's and P's to the family, and hope everyone else is doing okay.
Yeah, no, it's sad news.
However, Dave, moving on into the big stuff, NBA. It's all NBA today, Dave, all up your alley, right where you want. And some trade rumors we haven't really talked about, Dave. No Lonzo Ball like yesterday. No Lonzo Ball. Dave doesn't have to do this because, Dave hates talking about Lonzo Ball.
I hate talking about the same trade for 3 months in a row.
But Dave, it was his preferred landing spot, Dave. It was his preferred landing spot. That's where he wants to go. No. However, this is
landing spot is
anywhere but the Pelicans.
Anywhere but talking about that Pelicans deal.
Anywhere but talking about it. But today, Dave, there's news that Kyle Lowry. The CBS put out a report today that Part of the front office in Toronto, well, in Tampa, but in Toronto, is interested in dealing all-star point guard Kyle Lowry. The report says Kyle Lowry is perhaps the most accomplished player in Toronto Raptors history. The six-time all-star was aside from Kawhi Leonard, the most important part of the team's 2019 championship run. But with Lowry now 34 years old and the Raptors below 500, it might be time for the two sides to go their separate ways. According to Bleacher Report's Jake Fisher, there is a portion of Raptors personnel, league sources said, that believe the franchise should bid its beloved all-star farewell and begin Toronto's next chapter in earnest. Dave, they don't even put in the other part of he's a free agent this year. So if you think he's going to walk, you should definitely trade him. What are your initial thoughts? Should the Raptors go ahead and trade Kyle Lowry by the deadline?
It's a tough one. Kyle Lowry is an OG of the team. You know, it was he and DeMar who had basically been there for the shit when they ran into the wall that is known as LeBron James of the East. And he's been a mentor to a lot of these kids on this team. So, like, I could see it going two ways. Like, I personally was start the season, I thought, Godfather style offer. Hey, you've been here, you've had your best years here. We will pay out the end of your, time basically and give you a favorable contract to go out on. But I like the idea of guys going to contenders at the end of their careers. I don't know if I'm just a fan of ring chasers now, but yeah, I'll say that. Fuck it. Yeah, I think Kyle Lowry should go to another team to try to get another ring at the end of his career. I like the player movement. I like it. Adds a little bit of fun, a little unpredictability. So whether they trade him or not, that they have to know what he's going. If they're like, hey, I would want to finish my career here, mentoring Fred, mentoring Norm, like these are my guys. I love it. No problem. Keep him around. But if it's a situation where he's even like 50-50, he's like, hey, you know what? I'm not sure going into free agency. It's kind of a concern. Fuck it. I would move him.
Yeah, and to me, though, the buck kind of stops there. Yes, I feel like the Raptors, if you feel like he is going to walk, move him. Like, that should be the deal. It's like the Paul Gasol when he was here in Chicago. It's like Andre Drummond that we're talking about with the Cavs. It's like, if you feel like you are going to lose him, get anything for him, because anything is better than nothing. Here's the problem I have, and you were talking about the ring chasing, so pretty much the playoff teams. Would there be any playoff teams involved with Kyle Lowry? There would. The big thing is, are there any teams that can take on his $30 million and be able to give up enough? Like, to me, it's one of those where, like, the Clippers could be involved because, like you said, Lou Will and
Leonard
Pat Bev are on the table.
With Kyle Lowry, they have a familiarity because of their time together. He brought Serge. It would make sense if he could bring Kyle.
I mean, like, that right there. Let's see. Kyle Lowry, I'm assuming the Clippers would have to have, the Clippers would pretty much have to have that entire salary. So, like, even if it's Pat Bev and Lou Will alone, which I know Lou Will's done at the end of the year, so it's like, whatever. Like, Raptors could even say, like, you walk at the end of the year. You still have Pat Bev next year. You still need $3 million, which would probably be a Pat, a Reggie Jackson, and like a Terrence Mann. Like, the Clippers could be a team where it's like, yeah, Jake, they don't need a point guard, but yet again, like, if you want someone that's better than Lou Will and Pat Bev, and both those two are on the table, who's going to be your point guard then? Who's going to be next to PG and Kawhi Leonard?
I think that it would be a lot to give up both Lou Will, Pat Bev, and a third player to make the contracts work.
That's why I don't think it gets done, because you have to give up too much.
Fucking love the fit, so is what it is. I would, if I was Clippers, I might want to make that happen because I'm like, scoring will never be our problem. That's the thing. Like, it's that team defense. That's what gets them through these games. You've got two killers on the outside with Kawhi and PG. Like, adding another guy who has been there, done that. I don't know. It's tough for me to pass up on. I think I would consider going all in on Kyle Lowry move.
I also look at, like, what teams in the playoffs need a point guard, because, like, obviously Kyle Lowry.
I don't think they would do that deal.
I mean, Kemba's their guy. They're not going to trade Kemba.
Kemba's a bitch.
No, I know how you feel about Kemba, but how does the organization feel about Kemba? Not like you.
Not great.
They don't hate him as much as you, though, right?
I don't think anybody hates him as much as I do. Yeah, out of the way. But I think it's just a matter of he's now one of the worst contracts in the league. I mean, he's got degenerative knee issues. He's no longer efficient, which he never was super efficient, but like now it's really bad. He's out of sync with the team. I don't think he's on the same page. I think that, but I just don't see the Raptors trading within conference really because it's like they're still fighting for the playoff spot. I don't see them giving him to another Eastern playoff team this year by choice unless they get a really wonderful deal out of it.
Yeah, I mean, the one team I really want to spotlight because, like, obviously looking through everything, I'm just going to go down the list. Sixers, I don't think need them. Bucks obviously don't need them. Nets obviously don't need him. Pacers, I would say, don't need them. Those are the top teams. Celtics could, but I don't think it gets done. Jazz don't need them. Lakers don't need, like, I'm not gonna say
you
Lakers
say Jazz don't need them. I think the Jazz could use them.
But what's the package?
Like, I don't fucking know. That's not my job, Ricky. I'm just saying
that. But like, that's like, so the players you would have to play around with if you're the Jazz is, let me get Kyle Lowry back up there because Trade Machine pushes them all the way to the ground when I switch.
Always
teams.
Does, yeah.
So they would need to, yet again, they're a team that has no cap space left. So what your big contracts are?
Conley.
Are they
another expiring who is one of the better? He's better than Kyle right now, so I'm not touching that. Yeah, so I'm with you. You don't touch that.
Yeah. The team that I was looking at was Denver. Denver is the team I'm looking at because, like, here's the question, and yet again, I want to ask this question rather than me saying it and getting jumped down my throat.
No, I would never, Ricky.
Would you, if you're Denver, would you want to try to trade him in order to have a starting lineup that has your backcourt of Kyle Lowry at the point, Jamal Murray, sharpshooter, at your shooting guard?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great addition to that team because it adds consistent playmaking and additional defense. Like, I get it. Will Barton can go off every once in a while offensively. He seems to be back on track, but there's just something about that team where I'm like, I don't have the trust when it counts to have the ball out of Jokic's hands. And I think if you added Kyle Lowry to that team, I would feel much better about how they would close out games. I think that overall, I don't know that you're going to see a big needle move by trading off large, wing contract like Will Barton or who's the other one who else would be in that trade?
So the one that I have
in that trade, but correct me if I'm wrong.
The one that I've worked out is because, like, Gary Harris would be in the deal.
Okay, Gary Harris instead.
The only thing is after that they would need about $5.9 million. I don't think MPJ's in the deal. I don't think Bulbul's in the deal.
Probably not, no.
Another contract that could make it work would be Jermichael Green. Don't think they move on from him. Don't think they move on from Will the Thrill or Millsap also. So the only players I included to make it work, now you'd have to wait until February 28th to do this because of
2 weeks.
The recently signed, but it would be Gary Harris, R.J. Hampton, Zeke Naji, and Isaiah Hartenstein. Hartenstein is the recently signed. That would be to make the contracts work. I don't know if you would then tack on a pick on top of that. I don't know if I would because you're basically going to get 2 firsts.
No, because it's an expiring contract for Kyle Lowry. I'm not giving up RJ in an expiring contract. Not happening. But that's my holdup. I think you try to find a way to make this deal happen without getting rid. Like, I'm cool trading Will or Gary in this deal. But I don't see a way you're trading RJ Hampton out. I know he has not done anything per se yet, but it's still like he was just your first round pick. Do you think that he's someone who can build for the future? But at the same time, in the back of my brain, I'm going, Dave, you're trying to win a championship right now with Kyle Lowry. What do you care about the future with RJ Hampton could be? Like, the now versus the future build. At some point, this team should shift all in for a championship run. And with the way they've been built the last couple of years, I think that could be an interesting move. So I take my concerns. I will raise them to the Denver fans and ask them if they'd be interested in putting RJ in a deal, because I think he would get it done. I think that would get it done. I don't think you need any picks. I think you're good with that shit as is, but I do wonder if they would include him.
The other deal would be if you did Gary Harris and Will Barton, but then you'd probably have to throw on either, like, the way I would look at it, because the 2023 pick is with somebody else. Denver doesn't have theirs. It would probably be this year's first and then a future first. I just threw in the next future first they have, which is 2024, unless you just think it's one pick.
Why are we giving picks up?
Because it's, to me, I would think of it to where if you're the Raptors, I'll ask this. Would you really, like, Gary Harris, fine, but like if I have to then take on Will Barton, and let's say they're a team that we're like, well, we want to take on Will Barton. We want to have him for an extra year. I think the Raptors would like the first package better, getting RJ, getting Zeke Naji, obviously getting 2 first-rounders from last year. If it's a situation where they're like, well, I understand why you're offering Will Barton, but I don't want to take on a guy that has 2 years. Maybe I want to go into free agency and try to get somebody. Maybe they try to swindle out an extra first. I would think that Gary Harris and Will Barton, that you would need at least 1 first-round pick onto that deal.
I don't necessarily agree. I think that both those guys being locked down to contracts like they are, I know they've not been uber consistent on the offensive end, but I do think that there's probably value to be had there. Like if the Raptors, who we did talk about, have a lot of guys who can play the wing, wanted to flip them.
Yeah,
sure. They need a 5. That's the thing is the Rockets need, not the Rockets, Jesus, the Raptors need a 5. And obviously, like, you have to figure out if Fred can play full-time point guard for you moving forward. So you might be able to leverage Gary or Will in a secondary trade to kind of fill that in. Because, again, yes, they're under contract, but at the same time, it's neither one of these is a terrible deal. Like, they're not great deals, but they're not terrible. You know, it's not like you're stuck with Kemba Walker with bad knees for a shit ton of money for the next couple of years. So I think that, I don't know that you need to give a first. Like, that's crazy value. I think that second, sure, but like, I think giving up a first and both of these guys would be insanity to me. I don't think the value's there.
Now, with that trade, you're saying like they would have to flip them next year, because I do believe there's a recently traded restriction.
Right? Not if they don't play for them.
So if they don't play a single game, there's no, okay. So then you can flip them immediately then. So
yes.
What I have here is the aggregate cash limit, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't give me my answer. Cash that a team pays during the season's trades is not netted against the trade. That's not what I fucking wanted, CBA. Thank you for your help. But like, other than that, it's like, I even look at the Lakers. Like, the Lakers would be a team that, yes, I think they would want to trade for Kyle Lowry, but it's like, I don't think they could get a deal done for Kyle Lowry. So like, for me, it's, are we looking at like a team that, and I'm not saying they do trade for him, Dave, I'm just putting this out there, a team like the Bulls, where it's one where like, hey, we're gonna be looking to get into the Kyle Lowry sweepstakes next year, but there might be an iffy of like, will he want to come play with us? Do we trade for him, have him play with our team, sell him on our team the rest of the year so that he re-signs with us? I'm throwing the Bulls out there because we have talked in the far past about them trading for a point guard, and Kyle Lowry's name was thrown up. So like, if there's a team that's not a playoff team, would look for Kyle Lowry in free agency, should they even look to trade for him, or should they just say, you know what, we're just going to enter the bidding war in the offseason?
I mean, I would say if I'm the Bulls, I'm not looking to get a 30... How old is he? 33, 34?
34.
34-year-old point guard on this roster. I don't think that's what we need right now. I think, yes, having a veteran point guard is good. Having a 34-year-old point guard who we're going to have to pay a lot of money, potentially, to keep on our team, overpay style, like, you know, it's like Rondo.
He'll be 35 at the end of March.
Yeah, okay.
So that's turning 35 this year.
Yeah. No, we don't want him.
Okay.
No, also, having him around as a mentor is not worth it.
Also, I'm going to throw Philly back in there. Maybe they do get a deal done because he is from Philly.
Yeah.
He was born in Philly. So maybe they bring the home kid home, win a championship.
I think that's an off-season chance. I don't think that's a trade. I don't think the Raptors would trade anyone in the East, Kyle Lowry.
Yeah. So really
Not
the
a
only
chance.
really the only team we're looking at is Nuggets or bust.
I think Nuggets make sense. I think the Lakers, but it's unlikely that they mess up their current roster that's worthy of winning another championship as it stands today. Like I think they're really clearly just fronting ahead of people. So I don't know, like they've got the money to re-sign guys, so they're not really in a situation where they have to worry. Like, yeah, I think the Nuggets make a lot of sense because it gives them someone who's been there, someone who's done that, someone they can count on to run an offense when it counts, and someone who is a net positive on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
So like that's I think all around that one makes a lot of sense to me, but I don't think a deal gets done. I think he's going to stay with this Raptors team to the end of the year.
I'm in the same boat. The only other teams I can throw out there is like distant, like as put them on the drawing board, but nothing gets done. Is the Spurs would be interesting if they did like a Lamar Aldridge for Lowry swap, just to team them up with DeMar DeRozan again. It would just be funny from a 2K standpoint. The other one would be the Blazers. If the Blazers look at it and go, you know what, we're finally going to split up Dame and CJ. Yet again, don't think that happens, but like those are the only other two realm of possibilities, even if they're far possibilities that I see. Really, it's the Nuggets or bust for me. If a deal gets done, it's the Nuggets because of what we said. They need to make a playoff push. They need to be the team.
What about Dallas?
Dallas? What would they give up for him? Yet again, I asked this question, just throwing it out into the ether.
That's a team who would love to have a veteran point guard out there who plays incredible defense. Still incredible, maybe not the right word, but plays good defense.
Working.
I know Tim Hardaway Jr. does a lot for this team.
$18.9 million though.
But his contract is juicy, though.
Yeah, 18.9 is good.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'd be interested in that one because I think that Luka playing alongside him would be amazing for both parties.
I'm gonna throw a trade out there. I don't know if people are gonna like it though because of who I had to put in it.
If you have KP or Luka in it, I'm just gonna tell you to not say anything out loud.
No, it's neither of those.
Okay,
I'm not that stupid.
Well, gotta ask.
Why would they?
When you lay out a
why would they trade either of those, Dave? Like that's the question.
You said people aren't gonna like me, Ricky. I don't.
It's because he's a fan. He's a low key fan favorite in the NBA. Trade I worked out. Draft picks. Put them in how you like. Ones that Dallas does have. It would be Tim Hardaway Jr., Boban, and Josh Green for Kyle Lowry. If we're looking to make contracts fit. I originally had Tyrell Terry instead of Josh Green, but they still would have needed a couple $1,000s that no one's lower than Tyrell right now on the salary. So that's why I switched out Josh Green, who's also a rookie.
Say it one more time.
Tim Hardaway Jr., Boban, Josh Green, and Jake is the reason why I didn't want to say it at first because he goes, "Leave Boban alone."
I don't. I don't think that Mark Cuban has the heart to trade Boban away from this team, but I would pull the trigger on that deal probably.
Would you include any future picks? Would there be a future pick?
They're getting Tyrell Terry. That's basically like a first round.
Josh Green. They beginning
Josh Green. That is a first rounder then.
Okay. Yeah. So
someone who has first round talent. Yeah.
Really, I agree with you though. No trade gets done. He stays with the Raptors and he'll walk in the offseason. That's what I really think. Before we get on to the next trade rumors, Dave, let's do our favorite segment, the dampest of dudes, the soggiest of shirts, the moistest of men, and sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are our wet boys, players of the game from the day prior. How it works is Dave gives a wet boy, I give a wet boy, and then the patrons at patreon.com/MVPvids, silver and above, get to vote each and every day for a wet boy of their own. And Dave, without further ado, I'm going to kick it to you. Who's your wet boy for this beautiful Tuesday, February 9th?
This was an easy one. I did watch the game this morning because I am an old man who goes to sleep early. But I mean, the way it ended with a bang, because he did knock in a three over Draymond Green. DeJounte Murray gets my wet boy today. This man had a little bit of everything. Ricky, I'm curious to see how you laid out the card. Okay, you got the steals in there. Yeah. I was like, he did set his own and team record for steals, personal and team record. Just the amount of growth that he's had, the amount of talent. This is a 29th overall pick in the NBA.
This is also a victory lap for you and Sean, because in the draft process I said this is a victory lap for you and Sean.
100%. 100%.
Because you guys were in love with him in the draft process.
My teams weren't taking him.
Yeah, you were. You were confused.
I think he was like 12th on my fucking board at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't understand how he was falling so far. It was insane to me. So yeah, DeJounte Murray, someone who's overcome incredible injury already in his early career. He's added so much to his game. He just seems to keep getting better and better. He will be all NBA defense this year. And now his offensive game, working with DeMar DeRozan,
mm-hmm.
he's thriving. This Spurs team as a whole, we're going to do a spotlight on them. Like, think about the talent on that team.
Dude, ever since Pop got vaccinated, they've been on a different level, too.
DeJounte Murray, late first round. Keldon Johnson, late first round.
Mm-hmm.
What's the third guy? Devin Vassell,
Lonnie Walker.
Mid first. Lonnie Walker, mid first. I mean, they're just getting incredible performances out of these young kids. This team, outside of the two old men, DeMar, LaMarcus, just young talent everywhere. I love it.
Yeah. For me, Dave, I'm going to go to the college ranks, and I'm not just going to go with a wet boy, Dave. Going with a misty miss. There was a game last night. Number 1 South Carolina versus number 2 UConn. Usually you don't see the number 2 next to UConn's name. Usually it's them being the number 1 seed. Things a little bit different this year. And I got to go with Paige Becker, who only a freshman. I learned this today, Dave, because I've heard her name numerous times. Reason has dropped her highlights in the Discord. And so it's like I've been familiar with what she's been doing, but I didn't know she was a freshman. Like going in, it's like, wow, she's the first UConn freshman. Like I was already getting ready to say this year's WNBA draft. Get ready for Paige Becker, because I don't know if the WNBA has the same rules that the NBA does, Dave. I don't know if they're coming out after a freshman year or if they're usually going 3-4 years under the UConn system before they come out. But whenever she comes out, Dave, I think she could be top 3 for sure. Number 1 pick, no doubt. Like number 1. Coming up as clutch as she did as a freshman, Dave, you don't make them like that. Men, women, no matter what. Like if you're a freshman, you're coming out in big games. If you're a rookie, the next wet boy we're going to be talking about is in the same situation, Dave. They don't make them like this often. But the patrons going in the same foot, Dave, a rookie from the NBA, I believe now, I have to double check, he is either the leader in the clubhouse or he is now up at the top with Joel Embiid, Steph Curry, Malcolm Brogdon, and Zach LaVine as the kings of the NBA wet boys. LaMelo Ball, just doing it all himself. Just like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to hit 7 threes in the game. We're going to win this no problem. And I'm going to score 24 on you.
It's almost like
we were right.
Could be the best player in this draft class for months and got ridiculed about it.
But what about James Wiseman or Anthony Edwards?
So badly in Australia. Look at his percentages in all 8 games that he played over there. Get the fuck out of here. I love the success of LaMelo Ball. You want to know why? Because the Hornets are literally the most fun team in the NBA to watch right now.
Yeah, they are.
It's not even close how much fun it is to watch this team play when LaMelo Ball is on the floor. He makes Bridges look like a talented basketball player. Not easy to do.
No.
That's going to be an insult to some people. Malik Monk, second chance in his career already. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. They're just having fun out there. So LaMelo Ball, different energy to this team, different level of competition. Gordon Hayward as the savvy veteran out there leading this team as an all-star. I mean, honestly, like I'm jealous of the Charlotte Hornets and what they've got cooking down there. So LaMelo Ball deserves this credit. It's not our credit. It's his credit. He absolutely deserves the love and recognition for being an absolute stud down there. And I love that he's getting the chance to run with it.
I'm going to have to double check, Dave, through our episodes because I may be wrong, but I may be right. Because I know you gave LaMelo Ball a wet boy just at the end of 2020. It was like the last day of wet boys. You're like, LaMelo Ball.
Okay. Was he my last wet boy of the year?
He was your last wet boy of the year. So seeing the number 2, I could be remembering 3 and just that being one of them. So he's at 2 right now. But I'm going to have to double check because I'm pretty sure he's had 3 wet boys this year alone. So we'll see if he's at the top with Zach LaVine, Steph Curry, Malcolm Brogdon, Joel Embiid, who are leaders right now with 3 wet boys each. But Dave, let's go back to the NBA. Before we do, we were talking about, LaMelo Ball. We got to talk about how you take care of your balls.
Really? Why would you keep giving LaMelo Ball?
Oh, no, the patron. This is a patron vote. This is a patron vote.
Here. The amount of times I've heard Manscaped ball plugs, I'm just saying there is a coincidence.
Played well. That's the thing.
There's something going on here.
Maybe there was a little collusion from the patrons, but if you're thinking LaMelo Ball so good, how can I make my balls as good as LaMelo Ball? Manscaped.com might be able to help you. Support for today's show comes from Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for those family jewels. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Join the movement for all your below-the-waist grooming needs. Dave, yesterday I forgot to show off the Lawnmower 3.0. I haven't done this in a while. Get to listen to a little hum action there. Also, we had Ben in our comment section. I believe it's Ben. So it's Ronan now in the Discord and stuff. But I believe way back when I created WPN, it was Ben. He even asked in the comment section of our, I think it was the Bulls video today, of am I going to show how smooth my balls are on camera? I cannot. YouTube will take us down for that, and they might even strike our channel for that. So definitely, here's the workaround though. I learned this from Retro. If I'm doing naked yoga, then we can have it on there. So maybe I just have to start doing some naked yoga in here, because Dave,
is this a plug for
No, it was weird. It was weird. Retro told me, he goes, yeah, nudity's okay if it's educational, and I did not know that there is a stream of videos that if you type naked yoga, that no censor at all. I didn't know that was allowed on YouTube. But if you want your balls as smooth as I, go to manscaped.com right now. Use the code MVP. Get 20% off and free shipping. That's 20% off and free shipping. You get both, not one, both. MVP is the code. Manscaped.com is the website. Go ahead. Your balls will thank you. Yeah, it was weird, Dave. It was really weird when I learned that from Retro. But we're talking about your favorite team, Dave, your favorite team to talk about. Not to root for, but definitely to talk about. And that is the old Boston Celtics. Because there's rumors out there, KOC is the one reporting these, that apparently the Celtics are up to something big, Dave. They're up to something big. They're going to do something big.
$27 million?
Here's the question that I have for you, and it's I'm taking a low ball here at the Celtics. Are they up to something big, Dave, or are they just all talk?
Well, I'm fairly sure you know my opinion of the Celtics and their trade.
I set you up hardcore for this.
They're just going to go get Al Horford. They're cowards. They're cowards. They'll go get Al Horford.
Jesus.
Does it solve their problem? Not really. But does it fit a need that they have? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking earlier today with Jake about this, and it's, Tice is good offensively. Tristan Thompson, he's still got some level of defensive abilities out there. You need that middle ground man. Al Horford's the sweet spot between the two. Plus, you bring back the Joel Embiid stopper. Mm-hmm. Does he still have it in him? Can he make that series more competitive? Because what we saw out of Embiid is both those guys can't hold his lunch.
Yeah.
He is just feasting on the Celtics. So I think they know what they have to do. It's just that mental acceptance of how much is it going to cost us to pay the Thunder to get back our overpaid for aging center. That's my concern.
Here's the interesting. There is an interesting part for this. So the exact quote, it comes from Kevin O'Connor, blog Rent Free, the Ringer, coming in his NBA Power Rankings, where he says, late Saturday evening, I received a flurry of texts from multiple executives around the league who said the Celtics were up to something. What they're up to is unclear, but league sources have long said Boston is searching for upgrades to bolster its wing and big man position. To me, I've always been on the big man part, Dave. I've been like you. Get a big man. That's what you need.
Hey, what if they want Lowry, Ricky?
Well, I love that CBS Boston, where I got this article from. After that, you want to know what they immediately go to?
What they go to?
While a Bradley Beal deal is the ultimate dream, it's like, get off it. You're not getting him. Get off it.
Never.
Just get off it right now. Could it be a Kyle Lowry deal? Maybe, probably not. I just look at the wing position, and that's the part of me that goes, what wing could they be after that they would trade for that would be considered up to something big? Like, is there a wing out there that I'm just not thinking of right now that is on the market or is not really on the market but could be interested by trade? Because, like, to me, I honestly can't think of any wing that is on the board right now, unless it's like
Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, that would be pretty big.
Harrison Barnes is the best fit, and I would love to fit on that team, and I think he would be excellent on the Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the Kings are ready to part ways with Harrison Barnes yet.
Now, Buddy Hield, that's a different story.
Buddy Hield's a different story, but Harrison Barnes makes that team better, and they have been winning as of late, and that's the thing. Can he be pried away from the Kings? How much is it going to take plus that trade exception?
So
how many picks?
With the trade exception, Dave, they would need to remove just $200K. So literally, the Celtics could give up nearly nothing player-wise. Like
they have to give up picks. That's the question. How many picks do they give?
2, 3. That's where I'm sitting. I'm sitting 2 to 3. I don't know how many the Kings want.
I think 2 late ones.
So what, this year and then 2023?
Something like that. Well, do they have any other teams picks, or are they out of those finally?
Here, let's see. So
is the war chest empty, Ricky?
So this year they have 1 first, 2 seconds, because they have Oklahoma City's second round pick. 2022, 1 first and 2 seconds. 2023, 1 first, and then Dallas's second.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, Dallas, Miami, or Houston second. One of those 3. A first in 2024, first and a second. Well, first and 2. Yeah, they're 1 first the rest of the way.
I think 2 firsts and the trade exception for Barnes would do it. I think if they do a first, and if the second first is protected to go into 2 twos,
yeah.
I would say cowards on the Kings' end. I think they deserve 2-1 for Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
Just for funsies, mostly at this point. I think player value wise, like when you look around the league, someone who, again, he is an above average rebounder.
Mm-hmm.
He can defend the 3, the 4, and the 5. Not all the time with the 5, obviously small ball 5 in it, but point being, like, he is someone who adds to that wing depth, is been there, done that, can score for you when he needs to, can play a different role any given night of the week. It's basically like replacing Gordon Hayward with a slightly worse shooting, better defending wing.
Yeah. Also, the player that I think would be, that I would put in the deal if I was them, would be Javonte Green. Like, I don't think they're giving up, like, Carson Edwards could be, but I don't know if they give up Carson Edwards. They're definitely not giving up, like, Langford. Or
could do trade exception plus a player.
Well, because the trade exception doesn't cover the entire thing. They would still need to give up $200,000 in cap.
Because from what Jake said, it's, I don't know, the trade exception is always tricky, but I do remember being sent a thing by Jake in NBA chat about trade exceptions.
Yeah. What I am reading here is that, so next to Harrison Barnes, it said 22.2 used of the 28.5 trade exception created by Gordon Hayward. And next to Javonte Green, it says 1.5 million used from the 2.6 trade exception created by Dwayne Dedman. So both these teams have trade exceptions that they could then use in it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just going with trade machines telling me. We've always had that in the past. Jake says if it's an MLE. If it's an MLE, he said.
Okay. All right, then, yeah. That works.
Other than that, it's like, it's a big, right? Like, if you were the Celtics, Harrison Barnes or any big? Like,
Al Horford. It's your option as a big. I'm sorry. You say any big. It's not any big. It's
Andre
Hassan Whiteside, a throw-in.
Andre Drummond's out there. Would you want to add Andre Drummond instead of Al Horford?
No.
I mean, is something big? Could it be like they're trying to get Miles Turner away from the Pacers?
They turned down Miles Turner. Remember that one? Danny Ainge turned down Miles Turner.
Mm-hmm. Is it like the only bigs I'm thinking of that maybe they could talk to? Pacers, Miles Turner. You're right. They turned it down. Hawks aren't trading Clint Capella. Raptors, Baines is not something big to me.
No.
Mitch Rob would be big, but I don't think the Knicks are trading him.
But I don't know that. Again, Knicks seem to be bolstering for a playoff run, so I don't think they're going to part ways.
What if it's the Magic?
Vuce Gang?
What if it's
Or
Vuce?
Aaron
What if I'm thinking more Vuce, but it could be either. What if it's one of those?
That'd be a good move. Magic don't care because the Magic season's over anyway. So
yeah,
I think you take what you can get. I would love a deal for either one of those players. I know Gordon is hurt right now and will be returning right before the trade deadline. It sounds like. So yeah, I would be good with Aaron Gordon or Vucevic going to the Celtics. I think both make them a better team, obviously, duh. But like, you know, the capital that you'll have to give up to get either one of them shouldn't be terrifyingly bad. Like, now Vucevic isn't exactly known for his staunch defense. But
if you're Danny Ainge, I know it's a scary thing to think about. If you are Danny Ainge, would you rather have Vuce Mang or Aaron Gordon?
I love wings. I'd take Aaron Gordon, but I think Vucevic is probably the better player right now. He's more consistent. I mean, he fits the five, but like Aaron Gordon allows them to do some interesting things with their rotations. I love rotations, Ricky.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the same thing, and the Celtics would not need to give up a player then in this case. The trade exception would take the full 18.1.
I truly think both options would make this team better. I don't know that one's better. Did you just say get the fuck out of chat?
What do you say?
DeJounte Murray ?
Why would you trade DeJounte Murray for?
DeJounte got a wet boy. DeJounte's not going anywhere. DeJounte is a Spur for life, okay?
Unless it's LaMarcus Aldridge. Do you trade LaMarcus Aldridge? Is that something big, Dave?
No. See, it's funny because it's Danny Ainge big. It's fucking smart. It's wicked smart, Ricky. Danny Ainge wants to add LaMarcus Aldridge to this team. That is the biggest play I've ever heard.
Before I try to work that really quick, Aaron Gordon plus the 2 firsts that we were originally going to do to the Kings, is that the same package? Is Aaron Barnes and
I think Gordon is probably only worth 1 and 2 twos outright. I don't think you even do that consideration, like the restricted one that could convert into 2 twos. I think it just is a 1 and 2 twos.
Yeah. Let's see. LaMarcus Aldridge. Yeah, this one, the trade exception. Yeah, it's weird. So what it says here in Trade Machine when I try to do it, because technically the fucking trade exception is $28 million, and he's only 24. But Trade Machine still says this trade would result in the Celtics crossing the tax apron. Therefore, this trade is not possible. Remove 1.9 of the incoming value to remain below the hard cap. So, yet again, like it's the same thing as the Harrison Barnes. They just have to like throw in vending
machine.
In this case, it would be like a Semi Ojeleye. No, it would have to be a Robert Williams then, because he's the only one making just over 1.9. It would have to be like a Robert Williams, and then
whatever. Give him a vending machine in Ojeleye.
Give him a vending machine in Ojeleye. But yeah, it should be interesting.
We've seen teams trade for cash.
Mm-hmm. They could do that. In the end, Dave, I don't think anything gets done. This is like the question is up to something big or just all talk. It's all talk.
It's never happening.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
The war chest, Dave. The war chest. They had the war chest.
AOC and Danny Ainge. That's all this was.
Oh man. Last thing we're going to talk about, Dave. We are on the eve of the G League. The G League starts tomorrow, technically. The Ignite team. What?
Watching the practices all week on Twitch.
I know you have. That's why I wanted to ask you. I wanted to get this going.
Answer your question in the air sometimes.
Yeah. What should we expect from the G League Ignite team? What are the expectations on the eve of the beginning of the G League?
Big things. Honestly, really big things. JG4, gonna be huge.
Green, in case you're questioning, like, who the fuck is Dave talking about right now?
He goes by JG4.
That's what Dave's gonna call him now.
Love it. Love the nickname. I'm all about nicknames. I think he will be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him in, again, the practices, the warm-ups, the shooting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just has it. He looks so good. Surprisingly, the more I watch though, the more I'm starting to like Kuminga as well.
Dude, I saw a tweet of him yam it down, and I was like, I love highlights, Dave. I like fucking practice highlights.
Both of these kids are very good. And I think that's the thing to keep in mind is both these guys going into this year were top 10 picks. Without having played a game, without going to a practice, they were top 10 picks in this class. Now, at this point in the season, after we've watched everything out of guys and start a conference play in college, I think a lot of people are being cautious and saying, well, they'll probably be picked, 4 through 10 at this point, Anywhere in between there, I've seen them bounce around. I think you and I both personally had them slotted in the 4 and 5 spots, or 3 through 5 spots, perhaps, respectively, on our last mock. The one guy to look out for, though, is Dacian Nix.
Yep. He's been falling.
That's the one
I'm
interested in. He could be a very good facilitator, and he's going to be on a roster with. I love the mix. Like, you got Jared Jack on one side and Amir Johnson over here, but then you've got these 19 and 18, these kids who are literally 19 and 18 years old, like learning from them under their mentorship. It's so cool. It's such a wonderful, like, once in a lifetime kind of thing. And the way that they practice, you get how much different it is than college basketball. Like JG4 was talking about how he's like, I'm sitting there talking to coach, talking to Jarrett. Jarrett's basically another coach about how he has to learn the game completely differently because the way you played in AAU and in the under 18s and in all the fucking other shit that they've done in high school, like it's a different game of basketball, and they're now learning it at the NBA level rather than continuing on to where like a lot of guys in college are still able to get away with that style of basketball, and they're not necessarily aware of everything that's happening on the court. One of the things coach said about the team was he wants to make sure by the end of this G League bubble, I don't know if they're calling it bubble, but it's a bubble.
The G League bubble.
Yeah, he wants all of them to be able to play 1 through 5 on their team. He's like, I don't want to have you specialize. I want you to be the best overall player you can be. So I want to make sure you understand the game. I want to make sure you understand the game from the 1, from the 5, from the 3, from the 2, from the 4. Everywhere on the court, you should know how the game works from all those positions, which is a very unique take.
You're not going to get that from college. Like, for example, if you're the point guard, if you're the one handling the ball, you're handling the ball because it's Coach K's job. It's any coach. Coach K is the first one that came to my mind. Any coach in college, our first goal is to win the game. Win the game, get to the tournament. It's all about the team. In this case, it sounds like it's interesting because it is more of that, like, I wonder if the G League coach is taking it from the mindset of, we could lose every game, I don't care. It's just, how are you developing as a player? I don't know if he said that, like, in a clip.
I've not heard them say that.
But, like...
I don't think they will lose every game.
I know that, but, like, there's a thing of, like, if they did, that isn't the end goal. The end goal is, how much of a better player are you through this experience? Because for them, their goal is to get to the league. Like, they are not in the league. Like, they're
trying to show out.
Yeah. The other G Leaguers aren't technically in the league, but they're technically in the league.
They are. They're in the league.
Where it's like most of them have two-way contracts at least. These kids don't.
Yeah. Or the fact that they could earn that contract in a drop of a hat. Like, they can't. They're in a situation where their future is not written in stone yet. So that's the thing. Like, these kids are all looking to have that show out moment to prove to everyone, like, hey, I'm gonna be the number 1 pick. Like, he's Green's still saying that. He's like, I'm gonna show the world that I'm the number 1 pick. Yeah. Like, that's my goal. And
which I am looking
I
at
absolutely understand.
What's up? I am looking at our old mock. Yep. My top 3. This was right before the season started, I want to say. I had Cavs going with Cade Cunningham, Knicks going with Jalen Suggs, Thunder going with Evan Mobley. You and I were the same with Cavs Cade, Knicks Suggs. You had Thunder going with JG4. I had Kuminga 4 to the Warriors. You had Kuminga 5 to the Pistons because you had Evan Mobley.
Yeah, I think it's a very tight race at the top. I think a lot of people have fallen off on Suggs, just through like attrition of like I haven't seen anything new out of his game as the season has gone on. I'm not necessarily down on him. I'm seeing different things from different players the more I watch, and his role on that team is that it's just that he's a role on that team, you know. Whereas I think, God,
I was just gonna say the thing that hurts Gonzaga it hurts, I feel like, some of their players in draft, and it hurts them when it comes to like people picking them in the tourney, is they just shit on all their opponents in conference to where it's like, well, are you really this good, or are you just playing weak opponents because your school and your athletic department are too much of pussies to move up to a higher conference?
They're both. Yeah, but I mean, Tennessee's having the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee is the most incredible defensive team in basketball outside of like Baylor right now, probably, right?
Yeah.
And they've got 3 guys who are going to be NBA players on that team, 2 of which are in the lottery on most people's mocks. I think some people have started to fall out on Springer. I think they're insane.
Most people. Let's go check out our ESPN video for that, Dave.
Sanity, Ricky. Also, who the fuck? Not the moment. Sorry, I'm gonna go past it. The comment section there got me mad. I was like, I don't even know if you guys watch Charles Bassey. I'm like, we got receipts for years.
We've been talking about Charles Bassey for years. Damn it, for years.
I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I think that being on a very successful college team where you're a role player does somehow limit you, because like when you look at the top of the drafts in the past, you know, Zion demanded attention. You couldn't not watch Zion on the court. Like you could close your eyes, open them, and instantly Zion's doing something like that's the guy I'm supposed to be watching at the next level. Yeah. Same thing with John Morant. Same thing with all the other guys who are going top 3. I don't know that Suggs necessarily has shown that. That's not a bad thing. I'm just saying it's one of those things where you're looking at a player who is excelling on a very good team. And because everyone is playing well, it's very hard for one guy to stand out above the rest. You kind of have to look at the little things in this game. That's probably something that'll come with more watches of like the smaller like clips of, hey, how does he handle these situational kind of things?
And Dave, I'm going to say something that at first is going to get you furious. But
do you even watch pro?
But then again, I'm going to use my basketball mind and like the actual logic behind it is, I'll be honest, watching the last 2, because I have actually watched the last 2 Oklahoma State games where they played against Texas and then.
You have to slap a wall right now, Ricky.
Dave, I will say this: there was a part of my brain that is like when you talk about that explosiveness, like for example Zion, like you see Zion play and you go, that's an #1 pick.
That's a guy right there.
Pick. If you don't know anything about Cade Cunningham or just coming in blind, I will expect people, casuals, to come in and go, Cade Cunningham's not a first overall pick. Because like you watch the Cowboys and you're like, nothing draws you to Cade. However, my smart basketball mind goes, there is nobody on his team. So then, like, for example, KU yesterday, Cade gets the ball, put 2 guys on him, force him to pass. Put 2 guys on him, force them, make someone else hurt us. And like
make the first move, Conway.
And that's the reason why I feel like part of my brain goes through I want to say he's like Ben Simmons, but he's not like Ben Simmons. Where Ben Simmons was entirely, I don't want to fucking, like, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I'm not even paid enough to be here right now.
I'm not even like oh, we're in this tourney. Fuck it, I'm not gonna play. Like that's where it was. I don't think Cade is that point. Like Cade wants to play. It's just
he's playing with family too.
I feel like how defenses attack him, it's making it impossible to be like it makes my basketball like junkie part of my brain have to be like, no, hot take Ricky, push it to the side, push it back.
Slap?
I thought you were going to.
Do we have to slap the wall again?
Slap
like
it, Dave. Give it a good slap.
I don't want to today. I'm in a good mood.
And my hand.
It's still early in the day, Ricky. My hand doesn't hurt carpal tunnel yet. Like, I'm just gonna let it go today. I do think that
the wall, so it's a soft slap.
No, that loses the emphasis. I do think that it's not locked in 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a 99.9%.
Okay.
I think that Kuminga or JG4 or Mobley, again, we talked about it. It would take extraordinary lengths out of any one of them. But I do think that there is still, you never count them out.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that three guys, we'll say three.
Yeah.
2 guys are going to fight for the top 5 ranking and see where they end up at between Kuminga and JG4. And then Daishan Nix is going to see if he can cement himself at a end of the lottery kind of a guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he thinks he's a top 10 player, which is great because you should never like count yourself and be like, well, I'm not that good.
Mm-hmm.
But like realistically, I think where he'll end up because of the talent of this class is somewhere in that, 12 to 20 range. Like he's a middle first rounder in my mind.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see. I think these games will be awesome because it's a fun thing. But the other thing for people who haven't watched G League games, don't expect incredible defense. Don't expect clean play. It will be sloppy. It is a teaching and learning environment for these guys.
The NBA.
It's not the NBA. You will hear a lot, assuming they mic it up the same way they used to.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm excited for a lot of stuff to come out from this. But I think that, they're 2 just supremely talented kids who are going to show up and show out in this tourney.
And Dave, you want to know who their first opponent is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time?
Golden State, right?
Jeremy Lin and the Santa Cruz Warriors. So you're not watching just the G League team, Dave. Jeremy Lin's going to be on the other side, which is going to be great to see him play yet again. Also, reminder to all you folks out there that Dave and I plan to do our next mock, record it on Saturday, release it, on Patreon on Monday. So yet again, gold, platinum, you'll be able to get that mock draft on Monday. Otherwise, you'll have to wait till, what will that date be? So I can get it to you guys. The 22nd for the mock, which isn't that far. But hey, if you want to support us and get the mock a week early, go ahead and support us, patreon.com. That is going to do it for us today. Remember, if you're not in the Discord, go ahead and join it. It's the greatest community in the universe where everyone from the MVP family can talk about the sports we love each and every day. Link is down below, or !Discord into Twitch gets you that link. Like I said, if you want the mock draft a week early, if you want it this Monday, patreon.com/MVP vids, gold and platinum supporters get that content a week early before anyone else. However, you can still support us at the bronze and silver level if you would like to. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch. That also helps us out as well. We're always on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVP vids. We're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. I want to thank you guys for everything you do. Dave, thank you for a great show, all NBA. We'll be back tomorrow with much, much more. You guys keep doing what you do, and as always, have a good day, everybody.
WPN.